part of what I do in my work. And, I try to educate people on how to treat the evil people. And I know that sounds like what weird. I know that, but it's true. If you go to any school, um, um, no class, no class, how to treat people that are different than you.
Welcome to Who Cares About My Story, the podcast on how sharing your personal brand story can impact your business. We will explore the perks and also the behind-the-scenes challenges of figuring out what to share. I'm your host, Reme Mancera, a personal brand strategist who loves finding the story connectors that illustrate the benefits of what you offer. And by the way, you don't need a Hollywood style for that. In case you ever wonder, remember, your story is relevant and worth telling. Hey there! I can't wait to bring you today's episode. Our guest is Vittoria Daelli, a funnel marketer who specializes in launch management. She turns offers into unforgettable experiences and transforms her clients' ideas into powerful launches. She's a disability advocate who uses her story and her work to educate others on how to treat people with disabilities. She has a speech impairment, which means she has difficulty with certain words, but with a little patience you'll understand her. As with any episode of this podcast, please be aware that you can watch this interview on YouTube with subtitles or read the transcription on my website. In our conversation, Vittoria shares how a job interview became a turning point in her journey. She also explains how she discovered the impact that her story had on her audience. During our chat, she emphasized how important it is for her to push through fear and how that has opened up unexpected opportunities for her. Get ready to be inspired by Vittoria's approach of not being afraid of your own brilliance and saying yes to challenges. Now, let's start. Hello, Vittoria. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Who Cares About My Story. I am delighted to have you here.
Hi everyone. Thank you for doing this podcast. Thank you.
So I can't wait to start. Please tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, I am Victoria. A lot of people call me V for short. Um, 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 I am a fellow marketer. I'm sure that a lot of people don't know what is a funnel marketer. I'm not a I'm not a nigga that that makes fun takes that be cool that I'm not I am a final marketer and that is to take your offer, to take whatever offer that you have inside your business and try to create comfortable, enjoy from the giddy, all all the way up to the all the all the way up to the end. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. How did you get involved into funnels?
Oh my goodness, that is a great question. It was it was during it was during the when where where I'm sure that a lot of people they were in they were in lockdown and uh, but I need something I need something to do because because I am a person that cannot stay still. I need to do something with my I need to do something with my not I'll go banana. So so I found found gorgeous mm, through a Facebook search and I bought at a time the food offer and that is offer you the I want to understand what is the fun anyway because I thought for I thought for a long time a funnel would just a fancy way to say website. I had no one I had no one in a funnel. So I took the course and I fell in love with it. Um, I, I understood what I understood the idea behind the offer. So, so when they, so when they, when they did the final gorgeous society, I decided to do the program, and that is when I started the whole final story.
Nice.
Nice.
So, how I know that you were also before that a web designer. Can you tell
Yeah,
us about when you get into that? Yeah, just share a
yeah,
bit about that process.
yeah. But yeah, yeah. Um, like I said, like I thought for a long time like a funnel, it was it was a fancy way to say what site or what page because that is where I started. That is where I started. Um, my online journey. Um, I learned how to how to design websites through um 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 mm, through my college. That is where I made my money, so I can afford so I can afford to go to to go to school. But I didn't make a lot of money. I, I just did it just so I could afford to go to school. That's all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool. And I have read that you had an experience in a job interview that was a pivotal moment for you
Oh
and
yeah.
your business. So, can you share a bit about that, please?
Oh yeah. That is where that is where um my whole life changed. Because I went to school, I wanted to get a job, like a real, I want to get a real job. Because I thought at the time I can't just be a I can't just be a designer all my life. I needed something more to do. So, mm, mm, um, so, 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 like a lot of people, um, mm, I, I tried to apply to a lot of jobs that for, that for, well, and decided, um, and I got, and the only thing that I didn't say to them, I didn't say that I had a, I didn't say that I didn't have a disability. To get in my mind, that doesn't affect my work. And that a part of my story, like, like, like I make sure that my ability does not affect the way that I work. So um sorry, I got a call. I got a call. I got an interview to get like my work that I did over the years, right? um, but when I got into the office, um 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 I I couldn't get into the office because 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 I use a walker to walk across. Uh, um, um, I was a bit like, okay, it's like weird. If you are, if you are a tech company, why not like why not put a eh, when I put study there, so if people want to walk there and they go up there, I don't know, it just um it just it just didn't make sense to me. Because I really wanted the job, you know. Thinking, I know myself. I want something so that I will go for it. I will go. I will go 100% for it. And yeah, mm, um, sorry, sorry. Um, um, I had to meet. I had the interview. Um, um, on the on um on the doorstep. On the door on the doorstep to the office. And 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 and, and right there I started to feel angry. Angry angry because um they called me. They called me before I interview. They told me that they liked my work. Like and 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 I thought, wow, if I had to work, wow, if I had to work hard, just to just to get just to get that job, it's not worth it. So Um, um, so, so when they asked me, do you have any questions for us? So the, oh man, so I thought it my chance to say to them, hey, you're beginning a big part, a big part of your people. And so I thought, okay, so I asked them, how many evil people do you have in your department? And they say, oh, I have none. Okay, do you see that is an issue in your company? They get people like me and people that I have and the other day they also need to be heard and need to be seen so that they can buy your technology. And I don't want to be I don't want to be mm, I don't want to say who they are because I don't want to get in trouble. But it was on the company. And so so that day. So that day after I got so after I come back home, I I I wrote my story. I wrote my whole story of what happened. To um to 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 people that people on my list. I wrote the whole story like the no I told you. And 2 days after um um the people from the what project laboratory and at me if I could share my story, if I could share my story in inside 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 um inside the Facebook group. I was what was so cool. So 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 from there that is where I decided I need to go into business so that people like me mm, people that have disability can be heard and not feel ashamed or feel or feel worthless and like that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, it's good how from a bad experience you turn it into something good for you and for
Yeah,
people that you care about.
yeah,
So yeah, good for that.
yeah.
And I read a post on Instagram where you share this idea of being afraid of your own brilliance, and
Yes,
how for
yeah.
you, sorry, and how for
Um,
you limitations are like other people can see limitations, but you see tools for reach your full potential, like with your leg braces or your walker, and that. So I love that idea of they are not limitations; they are tools for full potential. So can you tell us a bit
yeah,
about this idea?
yeah, of course. That I read I read that Mancera a long time ago, and I thought, yeah, that is so perfect. That is so great. Because I remember in my childhood, I I'm the one that you can't say no to. Because I always find my way. Even even when even when even when I'm even when I am afraid to do something. I always say okay. Mm, I always say to myself, what is the worst case? What is the worst case scenario? They could say no. Okay, well, that 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 is their fault, not yours. So like that whole thing. That is what push me every day to do my work. And so if I'm afraid, what is the worst? What is the worst case scenario? And none of that is all up here. But like, um, and 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 so like and so I always I, and so I always try to coach mm, I always tried to coach mm, mm, my clients mm, on 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 what on what on what is on what is their fear in 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 making the offer in that fear because they want the offer or so or 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 that fear a part of you that you're mm, mm, that you are afraid and you are afraid of what could happen and that yeah.
Yeah, and I can imagine how that's a mindset of you of yeah, even if you are afraid, you do things and you don't take a no, and you try to find your way. I'm sure that mindset is super helpful for you in your business, because as a business owners, we need to go through a lot of challenges and do things with fear and do it anyway. So
Yes. Yeah. Um, find I find that and find that you are afraid of good things that mean that you care a lot. You care a whole much. So, that is the right reason why you should go for it. You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the idea of the personal brand story, do you remember a specific moment when you realized that sharing your story was powerful and has an impact for your business?
Um. The moment when I there are there are there are two stories that I like in my that I like in my journey. The first story is in 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 right after I wrote my whole story. Mm, um, that I didn't get the job, not because I couldn't do the job. It was because they didn't have it was because they didn't know that they didn't know that I was be able, but shortly after I wrote that story to my list, um, the people from the bot, people from the bot project, they contacted me, and I thought, why would my story help others? Like, so my people, and people on my list, what, could you tell, could you tell me what, could you tell me that my story help you in any way? Yeah, I don't see it. Again, 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 it was the too afraid to tell a story, of course. But I had to push through that. I had to push through that. So I got so I got so over I got over 50 people that wrote back to me and told me how much how much my story mm, help them overcome whatever they had to overcome that day. Like wow. I mean, wow. From back to this, like, wow, I need to tell a story. That is why. That's why I. That's why I. That's why I accepted to talk to the project people. But again, I didn't do that. I have missed out, missed out, missed out through through a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
this impressive that many people reaction and answering your message, so that I can imagine how you felt. Like, yeah, this was something meaningful. It made sense that I shared that, right?
Yeah, but because I wrote that email. I wrote that email out of out of out of anger. You know, I need to get. I need something to write out. Something. I need to tell someone. You know. So so I told at that time. I had I had 200 people on my list. No, not that.
Wow.
I need to tell people because so I guess I need to convince myself that 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 I can't be afraid of my own. Weird.
Yeah, and you said that you had that second moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Would you like to share it?
Yeah, cool. Let's say, sorry, they went down. Um, um,
Cute.
um, the second one that I had was, um, um, it was, it, right after I took the test, mm, to be, um, to be a certified marketer, because, it took me 4 months to do the test. Because I had to learn a lot of things, and I doubt myself a lot. Because you all knew. I didn't know. I I didn't understand funnel a lot until I took number some um 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 the way after I did the test and I had the test um I felt so like wow, what else can I do? You know, like I felt that I had superpower now. So so I applied. I waited. I I, 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 I applied to a job. I thought there was no way that they would take me. That they would take me as to be the marketer. I thought I should learn. I should learn how to be a marketer in less in less than 4 months. Like there's no way. But I thought no. I need to push through this. I can't say I can't do that. If they don't want me, okay. But I need to do it. And so. So I applied to to be a marketer for a for for a for a Hollywood for a Hollywood salad. Yeah. Digging. 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 They need help with they need help with the funnel, all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, why not? I know how to do it. I don't. I know how. I don't have like do it yet, but like yeah. Mm, so I moved to them and um I told them I I told them I just get my I just get my program um 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 I would love to help sorry I would love to help you the um 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 uh, and I'm very and I'm very specific in what I needed. Like I didn't want to sound I didn't want to sound like I wanted a job. I didn't I didn't I didn't say I didn't tell them that that how I can help you. If you want, if you want, if you want, I can get on a call with you and talk out with you, and and Tuesday after, people call me and said to me, "You are the one that I'm looking for." Like, they were so impressed on what I told them in the final part that 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 to this day that to this day I still work with them.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
S- So when sharing your story, have you faced any unexpected challenge?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, a lot of times, like one time that I always do. I always say, I always say, oh yeah, oh yeah, I can do that, no problem. And then I'm like, oh no, what did I just do? Because I think that if you are afraid of your own, if you are afraid of your own, please, um, um, in my opinion, you can't say no to them, you know. So, so I do have issue with with saying yes all the time.
You are brave saying yes all the time
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
to challenges, I mean. Yeah.
yeah, because I just want to help them, or but I know that I need to work on. I need to work on mm, my. I need to work on my boundaries and the others. You know, but it's so hard.
Yeah, that's hard. So you mentioned a bit about this in the part when boss project asked you, but in general, have you ever questioned about who will care about your story, the story that you will share?
Yes, yeah, I do. There are part of me that said that's like I don't want to be I don't want to be an inspiration. Because, because a lot of people think that that just because you are able, you are mm, you are on you are on uh, you are on information and I know that from the heart. But I always try to question them more on what exactly my story touch you in any way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, also I know that you said in something I don't remember if it was in your website or your Instagram that how you are a disability advocate, but and also how disability doesn't define you.
Yeah, and mm, um, because because um, I have my ability only affect my speech, of course, and I, and when I walk, and that on it did not affect it did not affect whether I think or process or yeah. Yeah, and so yeah, and so to put yeah, and so to put yeah, and so to put that label, I am a the able like to me it, um it just seems to say, oh, because she has difficult to talk. She, she able like it just like it doesn't for me it doesn't make sense and but also on the other side it doesn't make sense to me that why I only try to advocate for people that aren't able because it's not fair. It's not fair how the society treat 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 people that aren't able. Yeah, so yeah, so yeah, so part of what I do in my work and I try to educate people on how to treat the evil people. And I know that sounds like what we I know that but it's true. Eh, If you go to any school um um there's no class there's no class how to treat people that are different than you. You know, so I think so it, it's part of what I do in my work, and it's part of what I do in my work, and especially especially in the final part, in it to treat every person with respect, and from the way that they get the offer all the way up to the end of the offer.
Mm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I believe that, as you said at some point, like using our voices to help others to understand different perspectives and different point of view, I think that's is so valuable, because it's valuable for each of us and for the society in general,
Mm,
and just to question our point of views, to think about different realities and how different people can go through things in different ways, and how makes sense that we think of other ways, not just our way.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, like, and yeah, yeah, but I am only one person that is the evil. There are a lot of other people that are the evil too. I can't, I can't think, I can't speak for those people. I can't speak for what I experience. You know?
Yeah, yeah, you are speaking from your own experience, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Like, and the other is good to have people. Also good to have different people, different people o- on your team. So that you can hear other point of view too. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And one of the things that is interesting to me is like, for example, here in this podcast, having conversation with different people, different culture, different backgrounds, different countries, different languages, like mother tongues, all of that. Again, because it's like helping us to see how others see life, business, and one of the things, in my opinion, there is like kind of a one way of seeing how business should be and how what is the version of success that is the right one, and so all of that is like, okay, I want to create space where I have conversation with different people that they try their way, they are running their business in their own terms, and they have different points of views of what is success for them. And I want
Yeah,
to have those kind of conversations, right?
yeah, and that and what you're doing now, it's so good. And I wish I would have known that before I start my journey. Because because I thought, why would people care about what I do? You know? But I didn't want to. I didn't want to play with all I'm able to help me. No, no, I always, like, I know, like, that, play, like, I know, like, people that pity other people, because because you can't do nothing for it. You just feel pity.
Mm.
That for me is not good. So, um, so I always, yeah, no, so I wish that I would have. I wish that your podcast would have um uh came out earlier. Because I'm sure that you are learning a lot from other people, from other people point of view.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. And thank you for your kind words. Um, I would like to ask you a almost final question. What would you say is the part of your story that tends to be the most surprising for people, for your clients or people from your audience?
That mm, I always find a way, like, because I am, because I don't take no for an answer, and because um it's okay to be afraid of things. It's okay, but you have to push through that fear and think and just think what the worst case they would say no. Well, too bad. Not life. Take that no, and take that no, and into put that into another opportunity, another opportunity, another uh, uh, another opportunity. There always is. There always is. let them know doesn't mean that it should stop you. You know, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, it's that can be not now, and it's you don't know. It could be different opportunities later
yeah,
on in different
yeah,
ways,
yeah,
or is this a no, but then you have a yes somewhere else. So yeah, absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then the same idea that and then the same idea with a funnel. Um, um, just because you bought a just because you bought a offer doesn't mean that you had to doesn't mean that you had to buy and that offer it a good time to get to know it to get to know your people better so that when you have the right opportunity then you can go back to go back to the original offer but offer them but offer them and better but offer them in better and better opportunity
Mm.
than before.
Yeah, yeah. I like how you bring your funnel strategy mindset here. Okay, so thank you for this. How can people find out more about you and about your business and the work that you do?
You could go. You could go to my site, and also, and also, I had a free, I had a free coffee, coffee chat there. Because I love to talk to, I love to talk to people. Because that is because because I want to help as many people that I can. Yeah. Um. Yeah.
Thank you. And we are going to make sure that all the details, like your website and your social media links, are in the description and in the in the show notes. Okay, so this has been fantastic. I have really enjoyed our conversation. So grateful to have you here and have the opportunity to learn a bit more about your story and your journey. So thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you again.
Thanks for tuning in to Who Cares About My Story, the podcast on how sharing your personal brand story can impact your business. If you found this episode valuable, consider subscribing or leaving a review. Your feedback means a lot. Did something resonate with you today? Please share your thoughts on the podcast platform or on your socials. I would love to hear from you and give you a shout out. Just tag me on Instagram at Reme Mancera. I can't wait for you to meet our next guest. Until then, remember, your story is relevant and worth telling.